What if I told you that those three are secretly forming one of the best trios in the entire NBA? If I said that before the season, then maybe that statement would be laughable, but as of right now, it is true. And we're about to take a deep dive into why that is. So without further ado, let's get into it. Naz Reid's gonna be the first player in this trio we cover, so we're briefly gonna go over his backstory. After an impressive stint at LSU, Reid declared for the 2019 NBA draft. Though not picked in the draft, he signed a two-way contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was the beginning of his journey to prove his worth at the professional level. When picked up by the Wolves, he was really just looked at as a project player who needed to lose weight if he wanted to stay on an NBA roster. You see, when Reid was at LSU, he weighed over 270 pounds at 6'9", which obviously isn't ideal unless you're some generational freak athlete, which he wasn't. Going into 2021, he dropped all the way down to 235 pounds due to a strict diet change. This not only showed his work ethic and commitment to the game, but this instantly made him a fan favorite among Timberwolves fans. He was such an underdog, counted out by everyone. No one really thought he would lose that weight. And even if he did, people didn't really believe in his skill set enough either way, which was one of the biggest reasons why he went undrafted. However, fast forward to today, and he's now one of the most versatile forwards in the entire game. Truly an amazing story. I mean, he said that he couldn't even do push-ups in college. Now he's strong enough to where he's confident he can get into altercations with Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga, knowing that their organization has a professional fighter on the roster. That professional fighter, of course, is Draymond Green. Yeah, seriously. After what he did to Rudy Gobert, I would be very aware of my surroundings before picking on one of Green's teammates. All jokes aside, and really it's not even a joke at this point anymore, Draymond is insane, but let's not get sidetracked. Naz Reid has been a key piece for this new look Wolves team. His biggest contribution to this trio is his elite shooting. As of now, he's hovering around the 40% mark on a good 4 attempts per game. That's a lot of attempts for someone who's averaging just under 22 minutes per night. He's one of those players who can literally fit into any system due to his elite shooting. He can play the 4 besides Rudy Gobert when Towns is on the bench, or he can play the stretch 5 position with Towns at the 4, or vice versa. This just goes to show you that when you can shoot the rock, you become a weapon, especially when you play alongside 3 All-Stars. And honestly, the Timberwolves aren't even a great shooting team right now. Reid is single-handedly keeping them afloat in this department. You just can't double the Ant-Man or Cat when Reid's on the floor. Reid can absolutely light it up when needed. His value doesn't only come from shooting though, because he can straight up rebound the basketball. The Wolves are arguably the best rebounding team in the NBA, and Reid has something to do with that. He doesn't average a crazy amount of rebounds, just 4 per game, but again, he plays only 22 minutes per night. So getting 4 boards in that amount of time, while also missing tons of opportunities on offense to grab boards due to him being out on the perimeter, is still pretty good. Reid's ability to handle the ball is what really makes him dynamic in the open floor, or even in the half-court setting, just like in this clip. Not only can he handle it in space, but he's a solid post scorer as well. He's excellent at attacking mismatches and showing off his elite footwork. He doesn't operate down there often, but when he does, something good almost always happens. Another way he gets points within the offense is in the pick and roll, serving as the roll man. We just saw how well he can move in transition, so something the Wolves like to do is deliver the ball to him early in the pick and roll so he can get downhill with a head of steam. Defensively, he's pretty solid there as well. His mobility out on the perimeter makes the versatility of the Wolves defense that much better. Just watch how well he's able to move his feet out on the perimeter after the fake handoff. I just really love how disciplined he is. A very fundamentally sound defender. He's an important bench piece for the Minnesota defense. They have arguably the best defense in the NBA. That wouldn't be possible without their bench players stepping up on that end as well. Reid's defense really shows up in the numbers as well. He's second on the Timberwolves in contested threes per game, first on the team in charges drawn per game, and third on the team in contested shots per game. He is a vital glue piece for this defense. But now let's talk about the second man in this trio, Karl-Anthony Towns. Towns has been on a tear lately. He's averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists per game while shooting 40% from the 3 and 91% from the line. He is thriving in his second option role, officially handing over the keys to Anthony Edwards, and it's working out for him. Towns did start off the season not too hot from deep, but he's now shooting like we all expected. Having Towns and Reid on the floor with Anthony Edwards running the show is extremely difficult to stop for the defense due to the spacing. And like I mentioned in our last Timberwolves video, I think people just don't understand how skilled he really is. His former teammate Jeff Teague, who's grown in popularity lately because of his absolutely hilarious podcast, had this to say about the Kentucky product. He's one of the best players in the league. I think it's because he changed his voice in his interviews, but he's really cold. I think he's one of the best players in the league. People thought I was crazy, but his skill set, when I first met him, he was doing all of the same stuff as Wembanyama. He just gets a bad rap for stuff like that off the court. And I couldn't agree more. Other than Jokic, Embiid, and Anthony Davis, what other big man is as skilled as the Big Cat? The handles, the speed, athleticism, three-point shots, post scoring, and post playmaking is a rare combination that not even Embiid, Jokic, and AD have, if we're being honest. Not saying he's better than any of them, but when you compare overall skills combined with athletic ability, Towns is top tier. That's why I think it's kind of surprising to still hear his name in trade talks. I understand he has little to no success in the postseason in his 9-year career, and he isn't known as the best teammate from stuff in the past. I'm also aware that the Wolves may want the ball in Edwards' hands a lot more, which hasn't mattered this season because Edwards is still putting up borderline MVP numbers. But this is just his second season with a great all-around team around him. He's still just too damn good to give up. This team is working. It would be foolish to mess with it. The biggest concern for Cat was his defense, but he's drastically improved that this season so far. He leads the Wolves in contested three-pointers per game, he's second on the team in contested shots per game, and he's top 5 in defensive rebounds per game. So he has value on this end and is far from a liability. This hints at their elite defensive rating as a unit. However, the player who really makes this trio special is Rudy Gobert. Standing tall at 7 feet 1 inch with a wingspan that can practically block out the sun, Rudy Gobert isn't just a basketball player. He's a defensive juggernaut. From the moment he steps onto the court, his defensive impact has felt like a force field around the rim. He's averaging 2.3 blocks per game in 32 minutes per night. As the anchor of arguably the best defense in the entire league, he is more than doing his job. Opponents often think twice before attempting a shot when Gobert lurks nearby. His presence alone alters their decision making. And it's not just about the shots he blocks, it's about the shots he discourages with his mere existence in the paint. If you're one of those fans who thinks he isn't that good of a defender because you only watch highlights of him getting dunked on through social media, I would really advise you to watch full games. Unless you've got a running start, nobody is dumb enough to challenge him at the rim. And sometimes, even that's not enough to get over him. Just ask Jonathan Kuminga about that one. The success of the Timberwolves will rely heavily on these three. I know Anthony Edwards is the main character, but not even he can lead the Wolves far by himself. Rudy, Cat, and Naz Reid all have elite gifts. Rudy is one of, if not the best defender in the NBA. Cat is one of the most all-around skilled bigs in the NBA. And on top of Reid's overall versatility as a player, he is one of the best shooting bigs in the NBA. When they, along with Edwards, are clicking on all cylinders, this team will be hard to stop. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.